Decades-long failure of policy from both Democratic and Republican administrations to create the conditions that fosters sufficiently rapid and shared economic growth. Disappointment with national-level policies naturally leads to local initiatives, sometimes with support across the political spectrum, that include trying to win Amazon's HQ too. While these local efforts have positive dimensions, they can also lead to a race to the bottom that reduces local revenue and makes it harder to maintain public infrastructure, including schools. America's communities are increasingly trapped between fear of missing out on the next generation of good jobs and undermining the essential public services that make it safe and attractive to live in a place. It does not have to be this way. Our book is intended for everyone who is tired of the old rhetoric and willing to try something different. We aim to tap into today's local energy for really sharing economic prosperity by proposing an update and, we hope, an improvement on the national-level policies that promoted economic growth just a few decades ago. The United States of America has always been defined by the notion of forward progress. For a long time, the engine that drove this technological and economic progress was simple: innovation, through which new ideas become commercial products. American innovation led the way in the 19th century for railroads, steel, automobiles, electricity, and radio. In the 20th century, as science advanced, the United States strengthened its technical leadership. Atomic power, digital computers, jet planes, microelectronics, and satellites. From 1940 through to the 1970s, it is hard to think of any significant area of rapid technological change in which the United States did not play a formative role. During the post-World War II boom years, a broad cross-section of Americans shared in the rewards that come with being first to market with new ideas. Across almost all groups and almost all locales, people experienced higher incomes, improved standards of living, better health, and more opportunities for their children. The United States became one of the most dynamic nations on Earth, and, to a substantial and unprecedented degree, much of the newly created wealth was shared across the country. This American engine of progress and prosperity is now in serious trouble. Job-creating innovation has slowed, resulting in a stalled standard of living for the middle class. Rewards from the remaining advances have become increasingly concentrated in the hands of a small number of people living in a few big cities. What went wrong? The private sector has always been and will remain key to American prosperity. However, the major, and now mostly forgotten, lesson of the post-1945 period is that modern private enterprise proves much more effective when government provides strong underlying support for basic and applied science and for the commercialization of the resulting innovations. Why is government financing of research and development so important? Because firms are interested in innovation only to the extent that it improves their own bottom line, and not if it benefits others. Spillovers from innovation are incredibly important, creating the basic scientific knowledge and also many of the more applied ideas that power further innovation and create jobs in all corners of the economy, but they are limited by private companies' unwillingness to invest when they do not receive the full or sufficient benefits from that investment. Meanwhile, financiers who support startups are understandably reluctant to take risks on large, expensive investments with potentially distant payoffs, despite the fact that such investments help create the high value-added jobs of the future. The innovation that led to rapid growth after World War II was the direct result of a fruitful partnership between the private sector, federal government, and universities that allowed us to generate and capture these spillovers as a country. Almost every major innovation in this era relied in an important way on federal government support along the chain of its development. This support was provided by both Democratic and Republican administrations. Unfortunately, since the late 1960s, The federal government has